Hello everyone! Welcome back to Nukeshot Media once again, here for round 2 of the ARS Touring Car Championship, as my phone volume was left on, blaring down headset yet again. But yes, ARS Touring Car Championship Season 2, Round 2, here at Laguna Seca in California. Fantastic weather out here today for the Group 4 cars. Saw some fantastic action last time out at Interlagos, where this guy, spoiler alert, Roland Jupiter 7 Quinners as he's known to the community, managed to take the win. How will that factor in here today? Of course, the top 3 do get ballast going into this round. I am, of course, Nukeshot Zokeo, here once again, joined this time by a glass of Dandelion and Burdock. Liquid licorice is another name for it. Tastes proper good. Would definitely recommend to any person that likes to drink stuff like liquid. I suppose that's most people, but still. So of course Laguna Seca, a very challenging circuit. Looks moderately simplistic just by the track map, but there are quite a lot of factors to take into account, mainly what you can't tell from the track map, the elevation change, that especially comes into play at, of course, the most famous corner on the circuit, the corkscrew, but also the downhill approach to the Andretti hairpin down at effectively turn 2. Could be argued turn 1, that slight kink there on the track map. Going to be interesting to see how things work out. No Mika here today, unfortunately. He's been absolutely jumped by a baseball to the face, and he's really not been the same since, so condolences to Mika. Wish him a speedy recovery from that. Hope he's feeling better soon. Of course, the format for today, as we look at some of the other cars around the circuit, Swablu parked for the moment. There is the Joe 2 guy as well for the Simpac team and the Alfa Romeos. Free practice will end in approximately 4 minutes. Qualifying will start at 10 to the o'clock, so around 9 minutes or so. Then race 1 will last 30 minutes. That's from the o'clock. That's going to be 8 PM here in BST land. Race 1 will then end, followed by a 5-minute break. Then race 2 is going to be reverse grid, as we saw last time out. Could throw up some surprises. That's going to be 20 minutes. And then, of course, after that, we'll have some interviews, hopefully, with some of our drivers. Perhaps less than last time, as last time it was a little bit chaotic, so hopefully we can improve on that. Medium compounds all around. No real need to make pit stops here. Of course, ×2 tyre wear, ×1 fuel depletion, as it says on the thread. So pit stop's not going to be an issue with these shorter race formats. Everyone seeming to be on the mediums. That seems to be the set tyre of choice, indeed. Of course, some may have to pit because of the damage that they pick up. Let's hope that that isn't the case for anyone. Let's hope for a clean race here today. Clean 2 races, in fact. You may remember also on the channel us hosting the Nukeshot Race of California. This was one of 2 venues that we broadcasted from Season 1 of the ARS Touring Car Championship. And it was definitely some fantastic racing that time as well. So be sure to check that out on the channel as well after this particular stream, or whenever you feel free to do so. In terms of the practice at the moment, TSR Swablu has the fastest time. Everyone's constantly swapping between being in the pits and out the pits. The Joe 2 guy in second at the moment. Both of them also picking up ballast, as they were in the top 3 for the point scorers last time out. with Quinners being the one getting the most points all out of that. So Quinners on 3% ballast, Swobbler on 2%, Joe on 1%. So interesting to see Swobbler with the extra weight compared to Joe, still able to be a little bit faster here at this stage. ART Hagee, here you see them parked up in that Toyota for Arrows Racing Blue. Fantastic livery on that machine car 96. Good to see them back. Their teammate Quinners, of course, very good points haul for them last time out. 23 points in fact. So very good points haul for them at one of their preferred circuits last time out, of course Interlagos. Be interesting to see how they do here at a circuit fairly different compared to Interlagos. Less high-speed sections. I suppose there's only one real low-speed section as well. Here you see ART James in that BMW M4 parked up at the moment. Only 1-7, the Spaniard, making what I believe is their debut here today in the SpaceX liveried Hyundai. Good to see them here. Scuderia Spinala logo on the back. Fantastic. Got some Americans here as well for this event. Hopefully they'll be here for the rest of the season. A fantastically striking green, red and white Castro design for Wangan Ghost. Should be one to watch as well. Amuda, of course, of Golden Bear Motorsports, hoping to do quite well here today on their home round here in America. Of course, got a new helmet as well this time out. You may have just seen that. Here it is again, nice and green, plasma dynamic. Shame it's not an open top car, because that way it would actually have a bit of an effect. So there's always that. And their teammate, of course, John Wandering here. Car number 8 of Golden Bear Motorsports. Nice golden rims on that. Very tasteful, classic look to that machine. Some Bimmer World sponsorships. Vitor, I've said it right for once. They are here as well from Brazil. So they're going to be driving a Toyota 86. And we've seen that bog off the line a little bit. That's been a characteristic throughout. But the top speed we definitely saw last time out at Interlagos. That be a standout quality this time with the balance of performance of the Toyota. So once it does get up to speed, it really gets up to speed. Hopefully we'll get to see some of that action later on. Just checking up and down the order. I believe we've got 11 cars total then. I hope I'm not missing anyone. Okay, so only one's there. And in fact, only one has a teammate. I thought, because they were both Spanish, that I got a bit confused there. But indeed, new names, difficult to get used to. Apologies. JND, teammate, I can only assume, of the Scuderia Spinala outfit. Living up to their name right there. I wonder if they're going to sign Rotary next season. That'd be an interesting development. Anyway, good to see them here as well. Doesn't actually have a specific team list. It has an entry list of drivers, but at least at this time, the team's only being listed in the team's championship board. Speaking of the championships, we'll start with the drivers. 23 points is Quinners in the lead. Swobbler second on 21. The Joe 2 guy is on 18. They're in third. Crazy John, not here today. Missing out. They had a really good showing though last time out. They got 17 points, that put them fourth. Hagee, series organizer of course. They are on 16 points in fifth. Sixth place for James Arrows Racing Team head honcho, you could say. Mr. Bossman Majee. And they're on 14 points after all that mumbling and jumbling and stumbling over words. ART Splurge on 11 points, they're in 7th. Amuda 5 points, they're in 8th. 5 points also for John Wanderin, so it's joint 8th between the two Golden Bear Motorsports teammates. Simpact and ARS Racing Blue tied for points in the Teams Championship, 39 apiece between the two of them. This could be a good opportunity for either one of those teams to get ahead of the other as we go further into the season. With the main ARS Racing team on 25 points, a little bit of work to do there to catch back up, but nevertheless plenty of opportunity to do so. Then we've got Virtual Life Experience, that is Crazy John's outfit that he drives for. They're on 17 points. Of course the VLX lads, or lad in this case, singular. And Golden Bear Motorsport, they're on 10 points in 5th. But of course we do have several new entries here today. Of course, Wangan Ghost from that Honda NSX, and the two Spaniards rocking out that Hyundai Genesis. Good to see a continued renewal of interest with the new entries. Hoping to see that continue throughout the season. As we are very much getting ready for qualifying, we get a call from race organizer or lobby host for qualifying about to get underway. Here we go then, as we are going to shortly take you over a lap of this fantastic Laguna Seca circuit. Of course, a circuit, the first ever real circuit in the Gran Turismo franchise, debuting back in Gran Turismo 2. ART James, the fantastic engine, or exhaust now I should probably say, from that BMW M4. There they are, making their way out of the pits. Good reminder there from Hagee. There are quite devious anti-cut curbs around here that are very easy to catch the driver out. They're right next to the regular curbs, so just that slight bit of turning in too early can ruin a lap. Be interesting if some of the cars are set up with a bit higher suspension than they'd normally run, perhaps compared to last time out at Interlagos, because of those anti-cuts, trying to minimise the effect of that as James plunges their way down towards the corkscrew for the first time. As we have an off, that is Vitor, gotta drill that into my head, apologies. So that Toyota having to rejoin safely. Pick up a lot of dust on those tyres though. I'm sure they'll rejoin just fine. So we're going to go for a lap here with ART James as they make their way onto the start-finish straight, going underneath the WeatherTech Raceway Bridge down towards turn 1, so the kink flat out, and then the true turn 1 really, the Andretti hairpin, runs a little bit deep, but that is perfectly fine unless someone's right behind you lining up an overtake. Gets a nice good late apex there, maximising the speed. Run down to this infield section of sorts. Under the Cooper Tyres bridge we go. Another essentially right angled corner. Very easy to catch those anti-cuts there. You can see on the inside of these. Making our way through sector 2, I believe. Now the run up the hill. And then the kink just here, leading onto the Ray House straight. Very easy to mess that one up. Good run there by James as they make their way up the hill. Then look how blind it is going to the corkscrew. You're braking before you can even see the corner. That's how dangerous it is. James, very experienced, gets that lined up beautifully. And then this fantastic downhill run, keeping firmly on the power there, down towards the final 2 corners. Look at the banking as well from here. You can carry so much speed. And then the final corner, easy to overcook it. We've seen that happen before. Perhaps not the best of exits, not the smoothest of exits by James, but nevertheless coming up to cross the line. It's a 127.7. So 127.6 from Joe, 127.5 for Swablo, 132 for Amuda. So Swablu currently top of the timing sheets by a tenth of a second. 132.8 for John Wondren. So both the GVM cars are a little bit off the pace at the moment. 129.5 for Wangan Ghost on their debut. 128.6 for Vitor. Hagee with a 127.8. That puts them fourth. Only one with a 137.5. Quinner's a 145.8. So Quinner's really had an off lap that first time around. And I believe J&D yet to complete a lap. Is waiting for a bit of clear air. 136. There's still quite a lot of pace to unlock with these guys. We're nearly halfway through the session as it is. So a lot of these guys can improve. And a shock, last time's overall points leader exiting the weekend, and of course the championship leader at this stage, Quinner's, really off the pace at this moment. You got to think they will be back up the standings very shortly as the Joe 2 guy goes into the pits. They putting on, I believe, a fresh set of rubber, perhaps just putting a bit too much dirt on the tyres this time around. Amuda improves, that puts them 7th at the moment. That's a 129.877 for them. 3/10 behind Wangan Ghost as the second best American at the moment, as Wangan Ghost is in 6th ahead of them. Vitor improves to 128.5. John Wondren improves to a 132.4. Only one with 128.2. That puts only one in 6th. 11 thousandths ahead of them is Quinner's. So Quinner's also managing to improve. J&D also improves up to 132.0. So quite a few of these guys still struggling to get below the 1:30 region. 127.5, still the fastest time of the day so far. Track temperature should be not really too much of an issue, as we see Hagee with a massive slide. Good save, lad. That's going to put pain to this lap attempt by them, as we see one of the Alfa Romeos going a bit slow. I believe that's Joe on an out lap, so just getting out of the way. He'll be setting himself up, hoping for a bit of clear air. Swablu purple as they make their way into the corkscrew, so looking to improve on their already best time of the session. John Wondren improves again to a 131.6, 128.4 for Vitor. Wangan Ghost with a 129.3, still best of the Americans. Swablu with slipstream from Hagee. This could be a crucial factor. And that is 3/10 shaved off, nearly 4/10. It's a 127.1 for Swablu. They've judged that to perfection. 3 minutes left in the session there. Swablu leads comfortably, half a second in it between them and teammate Joe. J&D improves for 131.7, still a little bit off the pace from them. Nevertheless, first time here, perhaps somewhat expected. James, meanwhile, in 3rd. Very close. We've got to see what James is doing here in this M4. Of course, they don't have any ballast going into this, so they're at a bit more of an advantage in that sense. The M4, quite a stable car, quite good on acceleration. Be interesting to see how they do, because they're on an outlap at the moment. They should be able to get 2 laps in, based on the timing. Joe plunging down through the corkscrew, going on board with them. It's an improvement, but it isn't a overall best, just a personal best, as we see a BMW parked up to the side of one of the GVM cars. John Wondren improves to a 130.8. It's a good improvement by them. Only one, a 128.1. They're really looking good in the mix. They're 5th at the moment on their debut. Joe coming to the line. It's not going to be enough. It's an improvement. It's 127.3. Not the 127.1 that they needed. 127.999 for Quinners, right on the bubble of the 127s. Still a little bit of time left in the session to go. Just under a minute and 30 seconds to go. Joe improves on their own time by 0.3. That could be crucial if they manage to keep that advantage throughout the rest of the lap. Then that could be pole position territory. They're already just 0.2 behind their teammate at this stage. James making their way through as well. Quinners up to 5th after they improved, so displacing only one. Only 1/6. Vital in 7th, making their way down the hill. Wangan Ghost is parked up at the side of the road. They're gonna have to get a move on if they want to set another lap, but I think they're just letting people by at this stage. No improvement for James last time out. So we see Joe actually was purple last sector. We're gonna see if Joe can take the pole position here. 20 seconds on the clock. No, they can't. They miss out, but they still have another lap because they managed to cross the line with 20 seconds or so left on the clock, so they can still do it. Swablu, what's their time looking like? Amuda, meanwhile, improves 128.8. That's a great lap there by Amuda. That makes them the best American at this stage in qualifying. Swablu does manage to get onto an extra lap. Doesn't improve. J&D does improve though, however. That is a 130.970 for the Spaniard. But still at the back of the field. They're the first to cross the line, I believe. Or actually, I think Wangan Ghost as well, indeed, going slowly. So 9th is the best that Wangan Ghost could do. John Mondrin and Only One together on circuit as well. Swablu making their way around. Now Joe, I think, is the key player in this. He's down on his own time. James, they come across the line, 127.7 there, no improvement for them. Joe was 0.4 down or so, and that last sector mark is going to be difficult to gain 0.5 through a single sector, but you never know. I don't quite think it's going to be enough. Vital at 127.7, that puts them 4th. Indeed, no improvement there for Joe. As Hagee at 127.5, that puts them 3rd. Great lap there by ART Hagee, putting them in the mix. Vital, meanwhile, has crossed the line, and I believe Swablu, the only car yet to cross the line. He's already got pole position, and it is going to be pole position again for Swablu. Great result for them there. Great result for the Simpac team. Another 1-2 for them to notch up on their probably quite long tally that they've had. There you see it. So that's 7 cars within a second. So race 1 about to get underway. Indeed, John Wondering, nice having you in the chat, one of the drivers. It is a little bit quiet compared to normal. Nevertheless, we're managing. Swablu on pole, Joe 2nd, Hagee 3rd, James 4th, Vital 5th, Quinners 6th, Only One 7th, 8th is Amuda, 9th Wangan Ghost, 10th John Wondering, 11th J&D. Race 1, 30 minutes. We're about to get underway here for 20 laps at Laguna Seca. It is green, 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 and the cars are off. It seems like a good launch there by Joe on the inside. Manages to get alongside, and also I think that was Wangan Ghost's Honda getting in the mix as well, as the cursors all over the place. Joe to the inside takes the lead at turn 1, the Andretti hairpin. Good work by them, but side by side between James and Hagee. Hagee managing to hold on to 3rd, or do they? Because James is still alongside. They have the inside for the following 2 corners, and I think might be able to edge them out. Cars just clipping the gravel as well, the dust, sand, whatever it is. And indeed, James manages to get up to 3rd, but for how much longer? Look at this, Amuda in the mix. Amuda's 4th from all of this. They're on the outside though. Quinners making good use of opportunist driving, managing to get to the inside. They're going to be side by side as they go towards the kink. Got to be careful of contact. Quinners does hit the anti-cut. Both of them surviving somehow. Hagee looking to the inside of James, charging down the inside of the corkscrew. Going to be the outside for the second part. Can't quite get their way through. Maybe they can get the momentum down the hill. We're going to have to see. Meanwhile, at the head of the field, Joe starting to get a little bit of a gap over their teammate Swablu. This is where the action is at this stage though. Hagee all over the back of James. James makes a mistake. Do they run wide? They do. Hagee down the inside with ease after a bit of a slip up in the braking zone there. So that puts Hagee up to third. James fourth. Amuda, great start by them. They're in fifth, but for how much longer? Because they're down to sixth as Quinners makes a move down the inside. Only one. The Spaniard. Great start by them. They're hanging on to this pack. They're in seventh in that Hyundai. Good job by them. John wandering in eighth at the moment. They seem to be getting a bit of a gap over Wangan Ghost, who hasn't got damage. Just checking some of these guys. Vitor in 10th at the moment. 11th is JND. JND already quite a little bit off the pace at the moment as Swablu down the inside but runs wide, and I think Swablu's gone off. He has. What on earth has happened there to Swablu? Quinners runs wide meanwhile. We're going to have to see a little bit of a replay here. What happened to Swablu? Maybe a little bit early with the replay. So Joe was ahead and then seeming to just get a bit of a better run. Swablu down the inside, runs over the gravel, manages to, with a very good save, keeping out the wall. I believe we've got some further battling as Hagee has managed to get up a position as well. We're going to have to see if we can catch this. Hagee, what happened to Swablu then? Oh, look at that! Fantastic run down the hill to the inside. And then Swablu actually off the circuit at that point. Managed to actually catch some action on the replay for once rather than missing it. Well done me. James also hounding the back of Swablu. So Swablu from the pole position, not seeming to have the pace, really. They're making mistakes here. They ran a bit wide out of turn 3 or 4. First corner of sector 2, that allows James easily through. Swablu just a little bit out of rhythm at the moment. Meanwhile, only one up to 5th. Great start by them in these opening laps. Amuda 6th. Quinners in 7th. Quinners not having the best of starts at the moment. Nevertheless, they are still on this pack. Looking to the inside, or outside rather, going to the corkscrew. Was there a little bit of contact between them and Amuda? Difficult to tell. There might well have been, because there's damage to the back of that car. We're going to have to see what quite happened here. Going up towards the corkscrew, it might have just been the braking zone. There was the contact. So no damage for Quinners, and a bit of damage for Amuda. Has Amuda gone into the pits meanwhile? I believe they have. Indeed, Amuda into the pits for GBM. So having to repair that damage. Feeling that might be the best course of action. Although without any pit stops in this race, it's going to be difficult to make those positions back again. It might have been a bit better off just sticking it out. Are the team even doing anything? I think they've just... Have they called it a day at that? Surely not. Oh no, they've exited the pits, and look at that! Round nearly goes JND. What happened here? They're just running a bit wide out of the Andretti hairpin. It was kick of oversteer, and they see Amuda's car going into view from the pits. So Joe with a 2-second lead over Hagee. James now 3rd after they managed to make a pass on Swablu. Only one in 5th. Starting to get on a bit of an island. 3 seconds behind 4th and 2.5 seconds ahead of 6th, which is Quinners. Championship leader at the moment, using patience. Not even a quarter of the way through the race at this stage. Wangan Ghost, now the new best American here. Fantastic Castro livery again by them, has to be mentioned. Charging their way down. Oh, they've definitely overcooked it on that occasion, but they managed to gather it up for a late apex. Good work by them. Hagee, perhaps keeping Joe honest here. The gap is pretty much stabilised at around 2 seconds. Although Joe is using a little bit of ballast after coming 3rd last time out at Interlagos overall, as I believe we've got some close car action here. John Wandering and Vitor making their way through Sector 2. John Wandering ahead of the Brazilian Vitor. Making their way up the hill they go. Will the Toyota be able to use that straight line that we saw at Interlagos last time out? An acceleration perhaps not its best point, but once up to speed it's very good. They're certainly looking, they're putting on the pressure, looking to the outside, maybe a bit of a cutback. Does the BMW leave itself vulnerable? No. Good work by John Wandering. Good racecraft at this stage. Flash of the lights from them. Saw them in chat earlier, so that's showboating to the crowd a little bit. As Vital actually clips the anti-cut, very good of them to keep that on the road. So difficult in order to do that. Shows good level of skill from them. Though ideally you'd want to be avoiding them altogether. Nevertheless, a good save by them. The gap's starting to come down a little bit. Couple tenths. Joe runs a little bit wide here. We've heard from the Simpac guys that the Alpha can be a bit of a handful at times. Perhaps that's becoming the case here. We saw how Swablu was having a bit of difficulty earlier on. Meanwhile, Quinners and Only One. Quinners actually managed to get ahead of Only One. We're going to see if we can catch that. Can we? Indeed we can. I think it was just through here, was it? Yep, to the inside goes the Toyota, and Only One over the gravel, over the dust, sand, all sorts. And that's Quinners up to 5th, so Quinners making moves up the order. And will they be able to get a bit of a gap over the high-end eye? It looks like they are doing at the moment. Front aero damage for Only One. Now, unlike Amuda that we saw earlier, who went into the pits, they're down in 11th still, I believe. Actually, no, 10th, because J&D had a bit of a moment. They're choosing to stay out is Only One, which would be my call, as you're not really going to gain anything in hoping that others are going to pit, because pit stops aren't really a thing with this kind of short racing. Hagee all over the gravel on exit. Nevertheless, the gap continuing to close down between these two. 1.7 seconds it is. Hagee with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:27.1. It's bordering on the pole time, isn't it? Great pace then for the Brit. Chasing down fellow Brit, the Joe 2 guy. It's Brits in the first 4 positions actually, followed by Irishman Roland Jupiter. Actually, James has gone a bit wide and has lost 3rd position to Swablu. They were side by side. James manages to get ahead. I'm going to assume it's the anti-cut. Yep, there it is. Here we're going to see it from an onboard, just to show you exactly what I mean by this. You can see there on the inside, look how it unsettles the car. Again, good save to keep it out of the barrier, just about. Nearly clipping the rear wing over the tyre barrier. Managing to keep that together, but nevertheless they've lost position. Losing a little bit of momentum here as well, as Quinners is starting to catch them. 2.8 seconds behind. Quinners closer to them than they are to Swablu at this stage. Car 94 looking quite good at this stage. They've been good and aggressive so far with their overtakes, making their way up the order, and they are starting to get a bit of a gap over only one. Ah, that was very good. You could just about see by them how they glided over the anti-cut. You're going to see that again, cutting it just to the right extent, as for whatever reason the replays messed up that. That was odd. Oh, bit of a kick as they make their way through the kink onto the Rayhouse straight, going up and going back down again as they make their way towards the corkscrew. I forget, was it like a 5-story drop that they said on Top Gear was the corkscrew in height? Either way, it's immense. Definitely be a fantastic place to see some motorsport in real life if you ever get the chance. Joe still our leader as we are approaching the halfway point in the race. We're on lap 9 of 20 at this point. 1.5 seconds the gap. It's continuing to close down as the Toyota of Hagee hounding down the Alfa Romeo. Third place is Swablo, 3.9 seconds back from Hagee at this point, with James continuing to drop a little bit in pace compared to Swablo, 3.6 seconds back now. Quinner's still in 5th. The gap seems to have stabilised between Quinner's and James, it would seem, at around 2.8 seconds. Only one in 6th. That gap definitely has increased. Remember when those two were together not too long ago. Wangan, best American at this moment. Again, you got to think the plasma dynamics on that Honda got to be playing a part in that. Oh, fantastic backfire as well, you can hear. Same from the Toyota of Vital as well, making their way down. Number 23, that used to belong to a good friend of mine, Houdini Myers, formerly Gugas, in the Nukeshot Endurance series, so good to see that number making a return. John wandering in 9th at the moment, best of the GBM cars by a solid 8 seconds, 8.6, 8.5. So Muda seems to be closing down on their teammate, car 54 on car 8. They're in 10th at the moment, 12 seconds ahead of JND. JND still probably getting used to the car at the moment in the SpaceX liveried machine. Scuderia Vidala. Hope that they don't spin as the leader's starting to plunge down the hill again. Now, interesting note, gap 1.3 seconds. Anyone that's been on this channel before will probably know that is what I would say is effective slipstream range for GT Sport, at least at the moment, as Joe crucially manages to pull ahead. And note how the Alpha continues to gain on the straight line over the Toyota until perhaps the midway point of the straight, thanks to its acceleration. But good that Joe managed to break the slipstream range while they were on the straight. That way Hagee managed to stay back. Then again, that isn't going to be helping Hagee at all. Could still just about be within the dirty air range. These GT4 spec cars essentially in the Group 4 class, not too reliant on aerodynamics. They do rely on them a little bit, but not to the extent of a Group 3 or GT3 spec machine. They're more about mechanical grip, and that Toyota is looking quite hooked up at the moment, making their way onto the Rayhouse straight. Look at the view in the background, by the way, here. Fantastic to see Monterey. in California. The gap 1.1 seconds. Hagee using a lot of the sand. Very much a lot of the sand as they're making their way forward. Got to be careful not to overcook it, because if he does manage to drop all 4 tyres on there, if he is still got a lot of steering lock, it's going to be very easy to loop the car. Perhaps not as easy as it would for the Alphas or the Hondas being mid-engined, but still quite easy to do so. You can see how the Toyota is just gaining. It's fantastic to watch. Swablu going to be doing their best to close in on Hagee, offering their teammates some support. They're still in 3rd at the moment. That's a good start for them. Lap 12 of 20 we are on at the moment, as I believe some stuff's going on towards the back of the field. J&D is catching Amuda, it would seem. Has Amuda got damage or something? No. So J&D managing to catch Amuda. Amuda might have had a moment at some point. I can't see it on replay, but it's definitely looking close between those two. Meanwhile, for the lead, look at that. Hagee really managing to gain on Joe. Making their way through the last sector to last turn. Going on board now with ART Hagee, making their way through the last corner. Let's watch not only the Toyota, but the characteristics of the Alfa Romeo ahead. Well in the slipstream. Now we should see the Toyota have a bit of an advantage. We could see a move going into the Andretti hairpin, though I think that would be a bit risky at this stage in the race. Still a lot of race to go indeed. Hagee wise to it. Look how much it closes up in the braking zone as well. Gotta be careful not to loop it as well. Good work by them. The marbles really starting to build up on the outside, so getting even slightly offline is going to lead to understeer McGee-itis. It's the new kind of disease in motorsports that I've just invented for whatever reason, I don't know. You see Hagee still tucked within the slipstream range, going through the kink and onto the Ray House straight, going uphill. Amuda has had a mistake of some kind. They're slowing up. We're gonna have to check in on this. What happened here? Oh! So, that was probably, my diagnosis for that would be they ran wide out of the kink, or they hit the anti-cut, they tried saving it and the car fishtailed and clipped the back against the wall. Anyway, that is Amuda going back into the pit lane, unfortunately for them. Probably wisely so on that occasion with the suspension damage as well, but if it is just aero, you gotta think it might be just better to stay out at that point, as there's contact in the lead. Hagee sportingly giving the position back. That's rear aero damage for the Joe 2 guy. It looked like there was some net code involved in that. No damage for Hagee. That would certainly hint towards that. Let's see this one again. So they're making their way to the Andretti hairpin. There you see a slight bit of net code there. And then the difference is speed and the braking zone. Hagee instantly slowing down though. So perhaps he did make contact on his screen as well. Difficult to tell. Perhaps one for the stewards. But rear aero damage for the Joe 2 guy. Still has his rear wing on, but that's just because we're on GT Sport, where you can't lose a rear wing. Hagee looking to the inside of the corkscrew. Manages to back out of it there. And Joe sliding all over the place. Sliding like a fish. And Hagee manages to get the move to stick around the outside as we have a car off. Who's that? Who on earth is that? It's Amuda. So Amuda has made a mistake going through. Oh, what's happened here? Was it clipping the inside again? Yep. just carrying too much speed, I think, on that occasion. Good to keep out the wall there. Needs to find the limit again and not go over it. Hagee now up into the lead of the race, of course. Joe behind. Going to be difficult now with the dirty air combined with the rear aero damage. Nevertheless, he will have slipstream in his favour. As, oh, is that a little bit more warping? Difficult to tell. Fourth place is still James, meanwhile. Quinner's in fifth. Quinner's actually making the gap back up again. James is seems to be going a bit slow. For whatever reason. They haven't got damage. It's a very odd case. Hello, Mika. Welcome to the chat. Nice having you here. Of course, get well soon, lad, with your smashed up face from your baseball related incident. Have you had an accident at work that wasn't your fault? Well, isn't that a shame? But in all seriousness, advertisements aside, get well soon, lad. Vital in 8th at the moment. John Wander in 9th. J&D 10th. And they see the leaders just ahead of them. Swablu managing to catch up, meanwhile, to Joe. And Amuda in 11th, been in all sorts of strife. No damage to them at the moment. Of course, they kept out the barrier last time. Indeed, look at this. The Alpha is out of the slipstream range. The Toyota is pulling away. Swablu, meanwhile, the fastest lap of the race not too long ago. 127.019. That, I believe, is faster than qualifying pace. Might have had something to do with slipstream or lighter fuel. Nevertheless, Swablu on an absolute rampage at the moment, closing up to their teammate. And now Joe doesn't have the slipstream from the Toyota of Hagee. You gotta think the undamaged Swablu could be on for a second place, at least at this point. Joe just has to hold on. But it's going to be difficult as they make their way through the corkscrew. This broadcast is brought to you by Dandelion and Burdock. Liquid licorice. Because that's the new company slogan for Tesco Basics. Whatever. I don't know. Tesco, please sponsor me. Swablu now on the straight as we have an off for someone. It's Amuda again. You gotta be kidding me. The same corner again. It wasn't even the anti-cut. And then spinning it around. Oh, that is... Oh, you hate to see it. You really, really hate to see it. This is the first race, Mika. The second race will be happening after. So, plenty of action to still look forward to. Plenty of action still going off throughout the circuit. Hagee in the lead. Swablu really closing in on Joe in the battle for second. Gonna go on board here with Swablu. Gonna also check on the kind of speed they can carry through this kink. Dropping to 95 miles an hour. And then back on the throttle onto the Rayhouse straight. You see Hagee just in the distance. Now, let's watch the body language of the car of Joe with that damage. Keeps it as straight line as possible through the corkscrew. We saw him getting a bit sideways earlier on when he took a little bit too much steering lock mid-corner. And there you see the back seeming to step out a little bit on Joe's car. Nukeshot Motorsport by Tesco. Good stuff, good stuff. Actually, a white, red and blue livery would be kind of cool. I might have to try that at some point. Could be good banter. As closing speed again with the slipstream down towards the Andretti hairpin. Can't quite get anything done at this stage. Swablu staying behind. Nothing too risky from them. Still probably a little bit early to be trying anything too daring. Not exactly the last lap yet, lad. Of course, they are teammates as someone has gone off. And it's Amuda. really having a difficult time of it. This time the car just gets away from the compression of the corkscrew. Oh, he's really having a difficult time today. 2.3 seconds the gap that Higgy has over Joe. These two still very close together. Let's have a look a bit further down the order though of some of the other battles. James is 4th. 5th is Quinners. That isn't only one ahead of them. That is the lap down J and D getting out the way. The only one, their teammate of J and D, is in 6th. They're only just coming up to the corkscrew. Wangan Ghost, Best American at this stage still looking to be quite solid with that. They are in 7th, Plasma Dynamics for the win. Vitor making their way up towards the corkscrew on the Rayhouse Straight. They're in 8th at this moment. John Modrin in 9th, best of the GBM cars, J and D in 10th. And Amuda, 54 seconds back from J and D. Found that funny because that's their racing number as well, 54. There we go, that's how you do it. Just enough over the anti-cut so that it doesn't affect you. Meanwhile, it is. I just looked at the mini-map how close this battle is still between Joe and Swablu. Rear wing cam here on the Joe 2 guy's machine. The rear aero that's damaged, meanwhile, it should be mentioned. Oh, a bit of dust kicked up. They run over the marbles. That's how dirty it gets out there. Could be a bit of a lack of grip from doing so too often. Joe often talks about the lack of grip by running offline at La Sarthe. You also see the marbles building up throughout the corner as they plunge down the hill. Going on to towards the final lap of the race. Hagee looking quite secure. Just has to bring the car home at this point, you have to think. Nearly running into the gravel on the outside is the Joe 2 guy. Manages to keep it together. This is pretty much the only battle for position throughout the field at this stage. Ah, Mika. Funny stuff. I probably would ask for a discount at Tesco if I started running cars at the livery line. I wonder if that'd work if I ran Halford's decals. Get some car parts for free. I don't even own a car, but nevertheless. Exhaust tips or fake vents. Why not? Making the way towards the kink leading up to the Rayhouse Straight. Don't try and overtake there, Swablu, whatever you do. Of all places, that's definitely the most dangerous. It's going to be a last-ditch attempt by Swablu, I think, to get the lead. Not too many corners left here. Swablu looking the one a bit unstable through the corkscrew. The car's plunging down the hill for the final time of asking. Will there be a last-minute lunge from Swablu? It doesn't look like it. They're going to hold station. But it is ART Hagee with a fantastic drive by them. They take the win here. Race 1, round 2 of the ARS Touring Car Championship. Swablu looking to maybe get a move done on the line. Couldn't quite find the momentum in the end over their teammate Joe. So it is Joe 2nd, Swablu 3rd. Quinners is going to take 4th ahead of James. So those two swap positions at some point, it would seem. I'm going to see if I can catch that. James just pulled over to the side. James pulls over to the side. That was odd. I could only guess that's because Quinners is higher up in the championship, that James would just let him by like that. That's really odd. Some team orders playing out here at ART, it would seem. Only one in 6th in the end. Good debut by them. Wangan Ghost, Best American in race 1 in 7th. That's going to become a phrase used nickname-wise. Vitor, meanwhile, the Brazilian in 8th. John Wandering in 9th, going to be the last finisher on the lead lap. Good work by them. They're going to have a photo finish with them and Amuda as they come across the line together. Great to see the American outfit doing that. 10th for JND and Amuda in 11th. There we go, fake exhaust tips and racing stripes on the wheelie bin. There we go. Clean race bonus as well for Hagee. Good work by them. A little bit of net code here and there, but nevertheless, good result by them. If you enjoyed that race, be sure to leave a like on the stream. Consider subscribing as well. Don't go anywhere though, because of course we have race 2 coming up not too long from now. I believe it is just a 5-minute break between that. It's going to be a reverse grid, and you know what that means? That means it's going to be Amuda on pole, J&D lining up alongside. So Amuda, although they had a bit of a tough time in this first race, they're going to be in the optimal position for the second race. Let's hope that they can make the most of that. We've already seen them have a very good drive from a reverse grid race last time out at Interlagos. Very good work by them in the opening laps especially. It's going to be J&D, as I mentioned, alongside on their second race in the series for Scuderia Binala. I don't even know if that's the actual team name, I just found that decal on the back of the car. Mika, I have no idea what you're saying. Oh, STI, right, okay. I vaguely understand what you mean. So there it is anyway. Hagee with a win, Joe second, Swablu third. The top 3 all within 3 seconds by the end. Getting very close between second and third in those closing laps. Joe managing to hold on to second as Swablu holding station. Didn't try last minute lunge. Could be crucial later on in the season when it comes to the championship if those two are close together. Could be a regret of Swablu's later on. Then again, he was a little bit far back if he was going to try something like that. And no, I don't know what that is, alright, Mika? Sorry that I'm not hip or cool or whatever the kids say these days, I don't know. Whatever the new word is for epic or cool, I don't know. Anyway. It's going to be reverse grid as I mentioned. Same 11 cars, I believe. No one leaving, I should hope. So we're getting a little bit of practice in. John wondering there in the lobby chat saying there might be a slow BMW at the start. Let's hope that the GVM cars can put up a very good fight actually towards the front of the field. They've been very good at that in the reverse grid race last time out, as I mentioned. Let's have a look actually back at that grid. Potential ones to watch with the reverse grid format. Vitor, if I'm being honest. Vitor looking to be in quite a good position. Of course they did drive an Alfa Romeo in Season 1 of the Touring Car Championship, I believe. I could be completely mistaken on that, but I think that's what they drove. So 86 this time around, and I believe they were quite quick. They were one of the quickest back then, so that would be probably my pick, plus a very aerodynamic flag with the green of Brazil. Oh, then again, Quinners as well, fan favourite, and also the green. It's got the orange there as well for Nukeshot. And yes, I am the big stupade. Also, hello to Jenny Pujo, or Hugo, however that's pronounced, apologies for that. Message retracted. Good to see that in the chat. Yes, John wondering, the NES Season 5 fan favourite, of course. will be starting quite high up the order as well. This second row. Again, this stream is brought to you by Dandelion and Burdock Liquid Licorice. James is getting a little bit extra practice in between the sessions, as a few of these guys are. Only one, Swablu and Joe as well, doing the same. Nice having a bit of activity in chat. We're at 4 viewers at the moment. Normally hovering around the 8 viewer mark, but nevertheless, doesn't really matter too much as long as the viewers that we do have are enjoying the stream. That's what it's all about. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Oh dear. I don't know. What am I doing with my life? Joe getting sideways through the Andretti hairpin. That might have been a stab of handbrake by them there. Gotta be careful he doesn't ruin the gearbox before the race by doing that. That's probably what it is. No Mika in the booth. Although, last time out it wasn't overly bad with the viewership. But anyway, as I said, I'm enjoying it. That's what really matters. So Muda on pole, J&D second, John Wander in third, Vital fourth, Wangan goes fifth, Only One sixth, James seventh, eighth is Quinners, ninth is going to be Swablu, 10th Joe, and Hagee down in 11th. We're about to get racing on the way for race 2 here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. It is green, 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 and the cars are off. The BMW gets a fantastic launch from pole, charging their way down towards the Andretti hairpin for the first time. The Hyundai looking to the outside though, gets a little bit of a better run through there. Seems a little bit of contact between John Wondering and Only One forced up to second place by that contact, nearly challenging for the lead as well. Vital up to third meanwhile. And side by side for the lead, looks like Only One's going to be hung out to dry as... what on earth is going on here? Hagee's up to 8th, John Wondering 7th, John Wondering 8th. Quinners in the mix as well. Look at this, someone's on the gravel. Who's there? Swablu's going sideways on the straight. What on earth is he doing? 3 wide as they make their way through sector 2. Nearly forgot what sector it is. Swablu looking to the outside of Joe. Those two side by side. John wandering side by side with Quinners as they make their way to the king. Watch out, lads. Watch out. I think somehow everyone's got through in one piece. I have no idea how that's happened. Wangan Ghost has dropped down to 11th. Plasma Dynamics not working in their favour at this stage. Only one in second. Amuda still leads. The top 3 have got a bit of a gap here. Vital, my pick, I mentioned earlier. Go on, lad. They're in third at the moment in the Toyota. It was a Toyota that won last time out. And look at Hagee. Hagee from the back of the field up to 4th. What a scorching lap by them in order to be in this position. And they're closing in on the leaders as well. Swablu 5th, Joe 6th, James 7th, Quinners 8th. They make their way through. Oh, bit of lag again from Hagee. As battle for the lead again. Only One looking to the outside of turn 2. Amuda goes defensive, but that's going to ruin their run. And you got to think a bit of a cutback from Only One could lead to an overtake. Top 4 all bunched together again. If the last race was anything to go by, Hagee should have the pace here. Hagee looking for the overtake, and Only One side by side, 2 by 2, Noah's Ark formation as they make their way towards the king. Only One braves it out down the inside. Fantastic move, manages to make that stick. Hagee up to 3rd meanwhile. Vital back down to 4th. Now having a defend from Swablu. Swablu looking to the inside of the corkscrew. Sends it perhaps a bit deep there from Vital. The pressure getting to them, and now Joe's all over the back of them. Only One's gone off. Only One from the lead of the race has gone off, and Hagee takes the lead. Hagee back into the lead of the race after 2 laps. How on earth has he managed that? Only One falling down to 7th, nearly 8th as James goes down the inside. I really apologise for missing probably so much because of all the stuff that's happening. Joe, meanwhile, rear aero damage again. They must have repaired that between races, but he's got it again somehow. He's down in 8th at the moment, as battle for 5th continues. Only one making their way up the order again. Overtake there on James. Only one has rear aero damage, so perhaps they went down the order from a punt of some kind. Front aero damage for James. Maybe James ran into someone who has front aero damage. Bit of contact between those two again. Onion barges as they make their way through Sector 2. Things really heating up side by side for second. Swablu manages to get up to second. Amuda still holding on in third at the moment. Vital all over the back of them like a bad rash. Making their way up the Ray House straight. Vital looking to the inside. Backs out of it on this occasion. Doesn't want to run deep like they did before. Although look at that, nearly getting alongside again. Unbelievable scenes. Now Swablu's going to be doing their best to charge down Hagee. Could Hagee make it 2 out of 2 and be the top point scorer from this race weekend? He's certainly putting himself in a very strong position to do so. He's on an absolute tear at the moment. James, meanwhile, into the pits. That's going to be repairing damage. Here is Joe, staying out with their damage. Again, probably what I'd do if I had just aero damage. If it's suspension or anything, that's too dangerous to stay out. So I think that's going to drop James all the way down to 11th or so. Here they are in the pits. Indeed, just doing the repairs and leaving. Hagee still in the lead. Oh, they run wide. They run massively wide. I did warn about that. Very easy to run too wide. They were all over the gravel last race. Managing to hold on to it, however. Hagee with a little bit of rally cross. 1.2 seconds to go. Swablu in slipstream. Now, will that slipstream be a useful factor to help Swablu catch back up? Amuda, a great job by them, still holding on to third from Vital. Although Vital being my pick. Come on. Looking to the outside as they make their way towards the corkscrew. Different lines. I think Amuda's done a good job parking it on the apex. A little bit of a corner cut, almost it seems, from Amuda as they make their way through there. Seemed all four wheels one side of the curb or the white line. As Vital all over the gravel himself. The Toyota's getting very rallycrossy. Oh, bit sideways as well from Vital, making their way through. Only one being charged down by the Joe 2 guy. Both of these cars with rear aero damage, so a level playing field between those two. Joe well tucked in the slipstream. We're going to go on board here with the Joe 2 guy. Only one defends the inside. Looking to the outside goes Joe. Look at the marbles though on the outside. Going to be difficult to gather that back up, but they go for the cutback. Looking to the outside here of turn 2. Can't quite get it done. And again, defensive goes only one. All this defensive driving, when perhaps not needing to, is prohibiting only one from catching up to Vital, or Vital again. Apologies for getting that wrong for probably the 58th time at this point. Joe looking to the outside! And he's over the gravel! A good job gathering that back up, but that, a very risky move. Barely had his nose alongside. As, oh, Quinners goes a bit wide. Meanwhile, in the other ARS Racing Blue Porsche. Porsche are here apparently, for whatever reason. Porsche, Toyota. Oh dear, who knows at this point. Wangan goes to the inside. It's an all-American battle into the corkscrew. And John Wandering holds position. Good work. Well, I'm parking it on the apex. Wangan goes couldn't quite find their way through in that Honda NSX. Good battle between the two Americans at this stage. J&D down in 11th at the moment. Not been the best debut by them. Hopefully they can pick up the pace a little bit, get back towards the mid-pack. James, meanwhile, after that pit stop, they're in 10th. The gap, 0.8 seconds, so it is closing down between the top two. Things really, really heating up. Indeed. Mika in chat, lots of comments there. Sorry I can't really read much of them, but indeed it is pretty spicy at this stage in the race. We've got the battle for the lead heating up. We've got the battle for third heating up. Look at this from Vitor. Is he going to try the inside of the King? No, backs out of it. Am I glad that he did that? That would have been borderline suicidal from that. Trying to do something that risky. Could end both of their races. Especially at this stage of the race, you wouldn't try anything like that. Oh! And he gets it wrong! Vitor gets it wrong at the corkscrew! Gonna have to rejoin safely. Good thing he managed to do so. Vitor loops it round. There goes my pick. Oh, curse the commentator, as they say. There you see, the suspension on the compression just forces the car to loop around. Really unfortunate there. That's dropped Vitor down to 7th at this stage, as Quinner's actually ahead of them now. Maybe Quinner's made an overtake on them. We're about to see here. Quinner's... Oh, look at the run that Quinner's gets. Toyota on Toyota. Doesn't matter. Remember, Quinner's is the one that has 3% ballast here. Great move by the Irishman. This is why he is one of the fan favourites on the channel. James's livery reminds you of the BAR Zipper one from F1. Yeah, I can see that with the sort of half and half. Originally I thought it looked a bit like one of the Rebellion racing liveries from not too long ago, as John Wandering and Wangan go still going at it. John goes a little bit wide. Oh! And they collect each other. The correction there. That's damage. I think that damage was perhaps from a bit earlier on John's car. Wangan goes somehow avoids getting damage at all from that. And now look at this, James charging their way up. BMW on BMW action now. Making their way through the descent in the final sector. Will James be able to make his way past John Wandering? Been doing a good defensive job. And oh, both of them go off. Oh, and there's contact. James clips the wall. Unbelievable scenes. What's happened here? We're gonna have to see this again from an onboard. My guess here is John Wandering ran a bit deep and James just followed him in trying to keep pace. Indeed did so. In fact, there's a little bit of contact. I think John Wandering may have just clipped the anti-cut as they were on a little bit of a compromised line, and that in turn was James. James lost that by himself essentially, but he followed the line there as the gap for the lead continues to close down 0.5 of a second. We're just over halfway through race 2 here at Laguna Seca, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca no less, for the ARS Touring Car Championship. I nearly said World GT Series. It is of course the ARS Touring Car Championship round 2 here live on Nukeshot Media. If you're enjoying the action, be sure to leave a like, consider subscribing to keep in touch with all the action that goes off on the channel. Once again brought to you by Dandelion and Burdock Liquid Licorice. The battle for third still heating up. Joe on Amuda. Amuda still ahead. Gonna go rear wing cam on the GBM car. Car 54. Much better race this time around for Amuda. Not only was he at the front of the field because of the reverse grid, but he's managed to stay there, which is a real good testament to them. Joe looking to the inside now. Manages to get that to stick. So the Joe 2 guy moving up the order, still with that rear aero damage. Joe has had to deal with so much damage throughout this season already here in ARS Touring Car Championship Season 2. Which you may remember the teammates came together at Interlagos. Oh! Airborne there! We're going to have to see that again on a replay. That was fantastic. Look at this. The front of the car lifting off the ground. Fantastic to see. Shows how little downforce these cars actually have, relying more on mechanical grip than their Group 3 counterparts. That was fantastic camera work by Jack Wilkinson. Big up to Jack Wilkinson on the cam. Battle for the lead. 0.6 of a second. Swablu, fastest lap of the race. 2:17.014. That's faster than their fastest lap of the race last time out in race 1. Hagee with that orange helmet, looking to defend their position, doing a very good job at this point, keeping their cool. Be fantastic result for them. But I'd pretty much guarantee 3% ballast as... Oh, was that... Swablu's gone off! Swablu has gone off! We're gonna have to see a replay of this. What happened? What happened to second place Swablu? It was the anti-cut! The anti-cut sent them just a fraction wide over the gravel, lucky to avoid picking up damage. We're gonna have to see an onboard of this. Here it was. Oh, maybe it wasn't the anti-cut. Maybe it was just carrying a bit too much speed in the dirty air. They do rely on downforce a little bit. Very lucky escape there for Swablu. That's gonna give Hagee 4.6 seconds of advantage. So if Hagee keeps it together, that's pretty much a perfect weekend, bar the pole position of course, and I suppose fastest laps unless he really nails it, but he'd perhaps need slipstream in order to do so. The battle for 6th is definitely on. Vitor looking here, actually the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th all together. Great scenes here. Only one leading this group in the Hyundai, followed by Toyota of Quinners, Vitor in the red and white Toyota, or white and red Toyota in 7th. Look at this, Quinners looking to make a move. Wide goes only one. That's not the first time in Vitor having to go take evasive action over the gravel just to be able to not make contact as only one rejoin. So only one making a mistake, and now Vitor looking their way up towards the King onto the Rayhouse straight. Oh, look how close they got! Right on the limit. Quinners defending the inside. Now if you can hang it around the outside of the first part of the corkscrew, you can get it set up for the inside of the second part, and that can lead to an overtake. Nevertheless, Quinners, good defensive work at the moment. They got a little bit sideways as the car's suspension adjusted, which was of course what cost Vitor earlier on when they was running in 4th or 3rd, around that area, higher up anyway. And Amuda actually nearly giving slipstream to Quinners, so Amuda dropping down a little bit. Got to stay consistent here. They're doing a good job of doing so. But also got to make sure that Quinners stays out of the slipstream range in order to prevent them catching up more rapidly and then bringing the horde of cars behind them. The Joe 2 guy pretty much by himself, having a nice relaxing Friday evening. Unfortunate again with the damage he's been picking up. You'd perhaps be hoping for better results. Again, just very close to going over the gravel. So easy done. That King leading onto the Rayhouse straight, so easy to make a mistake on. Again, airborne from the Alfa Romeo, making their way through the corkscrew. Great scenes. The gap between Swablu and Hagee closing down. No new fastest lap by Swablu. We're about to see if they do that. No. So I think that could just be Hagee managing the gap. I think Hagee might drop the pace a bit just to make sure and guarantee that they don't make any mistakes. I think that might be what that is. Just going to see the lap times between them. 27.3 last time around. 27.4, so Hagee hasn't really dropped the pace that much. Oh, wrong one. Nevertheless, 3 seconds is the gap. That's quite comfortable for Hagee at this point. Amuda coming under threat as Vital's actually dropped back behind only one. So that must have happened somewhere. Apologies that we missed that. Look at this, Quinners looking one side then the other. Faked outside, went to the inside, and managed to make the overtake stick. That was a fantastic bit of racecraft there by Quinners. Here it is on board. Here you see, fakes the inside, or fakes the outside rather, then goes to the inside. Gets that to stick quite nicely. Still ahead as they make their way through the corkscrew. So Amuda 5th. Only 1/6. As Vital runs a little bit wide. Oh, they managed to gather that up. Very close to disaster that time around. Oh, seemed a bit of a kick of oversteer through there. Perhaps the car with a bit of a loose setup. Hello, Crystal. Nice having you in chat as well. Someone from the Mod Nation days, big up. This is what I spend most of my sad life doing these days, is race commentary. Nevertheless, Wangan Ghost coming across the line onto the final lap of the race. The leaders making their way through. Cool, calm, collected from Hagee through the corkscrew for the final time. Still some juiciness going on a bit further back as Quinners nearly runs completely off the circuit. So 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th still very close together. But with one corner to go, I think it is all over. Indeed, it is going to be ART Hagee. 2 wins in a row here at Laguna Seca. They take the win in race 2 here at round 2 of the ARS Touring Car Championship Season 2. 2's all around. Unbelievable scenes. A great drive by them. Remember, they were at the back of the grid for this race. Within 2 laps, they were at the front of the field. Fantastic drive by them. Swablu 2nd, Joe 3rd. So the Simpac cars reverse their positions again. It's going to be 4th for Quinners. Well fought between them and Amuda. Amuda, great result for them. They came home 5th. Only one holding on against Vitor. And nearly getting it wrong. They take 6th. Vitor 7th. After what could have been so much more if it wasn't for that slight mistake at the corkscrew with the car compressing down. Wangan Ghost, best American again. 2nd best American actually, sorry, because Amuda disappeared on the sheet. So well done to Amuda for being best American in race 2. Wangan Ghost in 8th. John Wandering making their way through the final corner. They'll come home in 9th. No one has been lapped, which is great to see. John Wandering fends off James. 9th place for the GBM car ahead of the ARS Racing Team car of James. They're in 10th. And J&D comes home in 11th. But it is ART Hagee with a fantastic result, taking the win. What action that was. Look at that, up 10 positions. That has got to be possibly the drive of his career so far. That was proper good. That was. Again, this event has been brought to you by Dandelion and Burdock Liquid Licorice. I'll see if I can get these guys in for an interview. Whew. Here are your race results then. Fantastic scenes. Hagee winning by 2 seconds in the end from Swablu, managing the gap after Swablu made a costly mistake. Joe third, Quinners fourth, Amuda fifth, only one sixth. Only one with a very good start on their debut to the series. Vitor in seventh, Wangan Ghost in eighth, John Wonder in ninth, James 10th, 11th for JND. Fastest lap of the race, TSR Swablu with a 1:27.0. That was set on lap 4. I better save the replay before I forget. Okay, gonna get some of these guys in for an interview. Whew, be sure to leave a like for that, surely. We'll be hearing from some of these guys not too long from now. There is Swablu. Now where's Joe on the list? Oh, is he appearing offline? Typical. We'll be bringing the interviews to you shortly. Higgy is here, he's just connecting. And I believe he is connected. Hello, race winner, double race winner, ART Hagee. You must be absolutely buzzing after that result.
Oh mate, to be honest, coming into it, I really did not think I was going to be as quick as I was. But yeah, I'm really happy. Really happy.
Honestly,
how I got on.
That was absolutely fantastic to see. Honestly, winning race 1, you'd expect being on the back foot a little bit with the reverse grid format, but back up to first place after 2 laps, that honestly has got to be one of your best drives, surely.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I just really tried pushing hard, just focused on hitting the apexes, and it all paid off in the end. Crazy 4 wide moment at the start of race 2. It was scary, and then a car going off into the gravel right in front of me and corkscrew on the same lap. It was crazy, but yeah, definitely one of my best drives, really happy. So.
Of course, and considering this, I believe is the first time for a while at least, competing back in an ARS championship. Of course, you used to be race director. Definitely no signs that you've been away, really. It's been fantastic to see the kind of pace that you've been showing.
Well, yeah, I've been, you know, whilst I haven't raced in ARS, I've obviously been in and out of other leagues, like during that time as being race director. But yeah, I've just still been racing whilst I've been gone. But overall, yeah, just came in, did practice like when I had free time for this, and yeah, it all paid off in the end. So, yeah.
Well done, and congratulations on a fantastic race weekend. Well done.
Thank you.
Over to who do we start off with? Because one of you finished second and then third, and the other finished third then second, if I'm right. We'll start off with Joe, I think, because I want to. Hello, Joe.
Yes, mate.
Having to deal with damage on both occasions again, rear aero damage. Do you think that you could have perhaps achieved better than you could have if you didn't pick up that, or do you think that second and third, or third and second, whichever it was the best that you could manage today?
I probably could have done better, yeah. Because initially it was about a second lap drop off, and that after you get used to it, you're down to maybe like 7 tenths slower than having top speed and freer grip. Yeah, both races I get rear-ended by that, so that's great.
Oh, F's in the chat for that one.
Take an arrow at the rear.
Oh dear. Oh dear. YouTube's probably going to take me down for that kind of level of humour, but nevertheless.
Yes.
Oh dear. Well, nevertheless, even with the damage though, consistent points for both cars. That's probably going to keep the sponsors quite happy, I'd imagine.
it should help the constructors keep us up there. And then we'll both take a nice 2% into the next round.
Yeah, of course.
We have.
Of course, the ballast system. So that's going to be quite juicy to see how that's worked out. Of course, you only had 1% ballast going into this, but how much did that actually affect the car?
I don't really know, because I did about 6 laps of practice before coming in the lobby and finished with practicing in the lobby.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway,
1% isn't much of a difference on the car.
Yeah, I'd imagine it isn't. So might take a little bit more practice getting used to next race when you got a little bit more, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll find out where we are for in a minute.
Yes, I've got that on the thread. Oh, what was it? Let's see.
Autopolis short.
Autopolis short for round 3. However, I haven't forgotten about him. Hello, Swablu. How you been? Good to hear. Was it 3rd and then 2nd for you? Right, so, race 1, it seemed that you had a decent battle there with Joe towards the end in the final laps. I assume you guys might have a team radio, so you might have known about that damage. However, choosing not to go for a last corner send on that, was it just because you was a bit too far back? Or are you thinking about the championship and the teams?
I already had damage. As if you couldn't have made it worse.
Oh dear.
I suppose. It's only a straight line up to.
Well, nevertheless, race 2 you seem to scythe your way through the field quite effectively, and 2nd place for that. However, it looked at one stage you was around hovering the 5/10 region between you and Hagee, but then you seem to just run a little bit too fast going into the kink onto the Ray House straight. Your thoughts on that particular incident? Was it the dirty air from the car ahead, or was it just losing a bit of focus? Maybe the anti-cut on that corner as well has been catching out drivers all day.
Yeah, we don't want to be touching that. It should dirty,
Of course. Well, hopefully things as we go to Autopolis. I don't think there's any real killer curbs there, so hopefully things will be a little bit better for you there going into that. But of course, the extra ballast as well. With both of the TSR cars scoring the exact same points this round, I believe it was mentioned that's going to be 2% apiece. Is that right, Hagee?
Sorry.
Oh, if both of the TSR cars scored the same amount of points this round, is it going to be 2% apiece, or are the fastest lap points going to count towards 2% for Swablu and 1% for Joe?
It's the same as last season, so it'll be 2% each.
Ah, okay, okay.
There aren't any fastest lap points.
Okay. Oh, there aren't even any fastest lap points. Ignore me then for the whole stream when I might have been going on about who has fastest lap. I don't think I said points, but yeah. Anyway, Amuda meanwhile on stream doing some
that was in the race.
Of course.
Without seeing the stream, whatever it was.
Oh. Well, anyway, congratulations to all 3 of our drivers here today. The top point scorers here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. We hope you've all enjoyed the stream here today on Nukeshot Media. If you have, be sure to leave a like to spread the publicity of not only the race but the channel as well, to continue to grow our community. Consider subscribing if you want to stay in touch and be informed of when the next stream goes live, which will probably be that round 3 at Autopolis on the 17th of July, so look forward to that. Of course, thank you to our sponsor, Dandelion and Burdock, Liquid Licorice. Thank you to Jack Wilkinson on the cam. And of course, hopefully Mika will get well soon after being absolutely smushed by a baseball. So...
Question. Is it just the one cab that Jack Wilkinson has? And
no, it's difficult to say.
The cab.
It's a secret of the trade. Joe.
That's the thing. Yeah, we can't get into it that
Needs to be in
much.
the cameraman's guild or something.
Yes, yes. Oh dear.
Well, big enough anyway.
Yes, there we go. We're gonna have to get game theory on this. Who even is Jack Wilkinson anyway? Anyway. Thanks to all the viewers anyway for the stream. Hope you've all enjoyed. Hope to see you next time out at Autopolis. Until then, from all of us here at Nukeshot Media, it's goodbye from us.